Hi writers, the purpose of this video is to talk you through the basics of the annotated bibliography. We will get more into detail in the particulars of the annotated bibliography later, so this is just a brief introduction to the concept. As a reminder, your screen may look a little bit different than this, although the concepts and the information will be the same for the bibliography itself. So you're going to go to where it says paper number 2, information, annotated bibliography, which is also where you found this video. You'll see a couple things on there. The first one is the paper number 2 assignment sheet. This assignment sheet includes all of the requirements for the annotated bibliography, as well as the 3 parts each annotated bibliography entry will have: the citation, the summary, and the evaluation. The overall guidelines, requirements for the paper, information about the scoring, and the due dates, which you can also, of course, find on the checklist or course schedule. It also includes an example of the annotated bibliography here. So you can see, like a regular paper, you will have your MLA heading, you'll have a title, and the title will be annotated bibliography of blank, whatever your particular topic is at this point. You will include a working thesis here, so your thesis, or sort of your preliminary thesis, although that will change as you continue your research and start to form your argument. And then you will have a list of sources here. You will first have an MLA citation for each source, a paragraph summarizing the source. We will follow a very specific set of guidelines for what to do sentence by sentence in this summary, so we'll get into that in more detail later. And then a paragraph evaluating the source, and we'll use the textbook's tips on how to evaluate a source and sort of go sentence by sentence in this paragraph as well. So this is what sort of one annotated bibliography entry will look like. If you would like to see a more thorough example, you can open the student sample. This is for an actual current issue annotated bibliography. So you can see the same setup. We've got one source here, but then you can see how the next source just follows behind it or underneath it. There's an extra space here to differentiate, and the sources are in alphabetical order as they go, and you can see a variety of different types of sources. You can see the next one just starts right below the previous one, and some of the different ways the summary and evaluation is handled for each of the different types of sources. I've also added some notes over here with notes on the thesis and some of the important details that the student has done well in this example. Let's take a look at some FAQs, questions that tend to come up about the annotated bibliography. So first of all, what is it? What's the point of writing an annotated bibliography? Well, it's a list of sources related to the topic that you are studying with annotations on each. So bibliography is a list of sources. Annotations means your notes. So it's a list of sources with notes. For different instructors or different career fields or different professions or different academic disciplines, the annotations can look different, so they won't always have 2 paragraphs in different classes or different instances, but for this class we will include 2 paragraphs, 1 paragraph of summary and 1 of evaluation. You can look at the student sample to see what they look like. Annotated bibliographies are a common genre. Scholars share information about sources that are relevant to each other's research. Professionals share information about sources for other professionals who want to find out more about particular topics. Another benefit of the annotated bibliography is that it requires deep research, which means your paper is more likely to give a complete and complex view of your subject because you've done that quality research first. They also mean that your research is required ahead of starting your paper, so it prevents the type of sloppy writing that can sometimes result when we procrastinate and we're trying to find a lot of sources last minute. They also give us really important practice in summarizing sources and evaluating sources, and those are really important skills not only for your college career, but your professional career and our civic responsibility as well. So one really important part of writing an annotated bibliography is that you really need to read the whole source carefully. When students make mistakes on the annotated bibliography, those mistakes tend to result from not reading or understanding the source in the first place. So the summaries get really sloppy, the evaluations are really vague. So as long as you've read the source carefully, you should be able to write a pretty good summary following the structure that will be provided to you. So we will follow this exact structure, and even within the summary paragraph, like I said, sentence by sentence, you'll have specific instructions on how to compose a good summary, how to compose a good evaluation paragraph. And again, those are skills that we will be using in the future in your college career. Some students wonder, okay, so I've compiled 5 sources. Do I have to use all of these sources? Like, what if I decide to go to a different direction? And do I have to use only these sources? Can I find more? Not necessarily. You don't have to necessarily stick to each of the sources. So you will continue to do more research above and beyond the annotated bibliography. The annotated bibliography is just, at this point, here are 5 important, helpful sources that are helpful to me learning more about this topic. So you can decide at some point that a source that you have used in your bibliography is not going to work for your paper, and that's okay, that's normal. That doesn't mean that you have to go back and change your annotated bibliography to exactly match the sources you have in your paper. It's just the starting point for research. So they are separate assignments, although it is expected that you will use most of your sources from the bibliography in your paper, because that's the point of it, to lead up to writing the paper in a more thorough way. Reminder of requirements are here. You will include 5 sources. 3 of those sources on the bibliography must be scholarly academic sources. The other 2 just need to be credible, reliable types of sources. General format requirements are here as well.